CenturyLink, our sort of company mission is to provide communications solutions and applications to customers where they live, work, and play. So that's kind of the framework that every new initiative kind of goes through to make sure that we're in line with where we want to be. We heard today from our CTO, Amir Hussain, that he let out the news that we're not in the autonomous car business. So that's the kind of thing where, you know, it doesn't fit. So so that's sort of the lens we look everything, you know, look at everything through. And then there's a question of, you know, can we afford it? And our eyes can't be bigger than our stomachs. We only have so many resources. So it has to be affordable. It has to be something we can fit into our normal, you know, the capital and the expense profile that we have. And then, and of course, we take customer input just like everybody else. We sort of take the customer's lead in a lot of places. But we also have a component of trying to build for the future. So even if the customer isn't demanding, you know, a virtualized network function, for example, we might want to build that, even though it's a replacement for an existing physical one where the customer doesn't get that much more benefit, because it leverages us into a place where we can expand that footprint and get some other benefits later on, both for us and our customers.
Right.
So, and then other things like regulatory issues, costs within our ability to pay. That just becomes, we just have to figure out how to solve those problems and to accomplish what we want. Well, unfortunately, I don't think there is any such thing as future-proofing. I think the only thing we can do is make sure that the investment we have to put in the network to keep it up to date, to keep it at the leading edge where we want to be, and that investment needs to be low, and the time it takes us to do it needs to be low as well. And I think there's really three ways to do that. One is to maintain as much focus on standardization as we can. I mean, it has to be maniacal because there's so many pressures to proliferate different architectures and designs, and that becomes sort of a ball and chain. So to force everything into as common a mold as possible, to simplify things, absolutely critical to future-proof our network as much as feasible. So standardization is one, consolidation is another one. CenturyLink is a company that's grown out of acquisitions, so there's multiple networks from all these companies that are grew up differently. They're providing similar services in many cases, but they are just different designs and different technologies. So we have a lot of work going on to consolidate those, to make them still deliver the same services, but over a common network technology and design, common systems, common processes, all that sort of thing. That's key for future-proofing because it helps you be more nimble. As you change something, you don't have to change three different things, it's just changing one thing. And finally, virtualization. So that's the big buzzword these days, and the more we can virtualize, the faster we can iterate on new features, new functions, and so we're working on that as well. So the combination of those three things doesn't exactly future-proof us, but makes us more nimble and more able to keep up with things on a competitive basis. My answer answer is sort of in two different parts. The biggest gains we've seen from network reliability in the past year actually has nothing to do with virtualization directly, but indirectly it has an implication. So the biggest change we've had in the last year has been some upgrades to some very old network equipment. So we haven't actually gotten rid of the equipment, we haven't virtualized it, but we've upgraded it to the point where it can keep up with the scale and the demands we're putting on it, and that actually improved reliability tremendously. It kind of goes back to future-proofing the network. You have to keep the old things sort of updated or get rid of them so that you can pivot more quickly to some new technology. SDN and NFV, we're all in. We heard from our CTO today about our SDN and NFV architecture and development. So we're going on all fronts. We're moving in those directions, and those are the costs. The OpEx savings from that are very promising. We actually have some examples of where we're doing that and have for a while in portions of our network, and the benefits are really there. They're unbelievable, both in terms of sort of what you can measure, like it takes less to create a new service, but also the harder to measure, the ongoing reliability, because it helps enforce standardization, which turns out to be key.